So thank you everyone and welcome to the Economic and Industry Development Committee number 8 of 2021, opening the meeting at 11:50 and noting that we have all councillors in attendance. There are no apologies on the agenda. I have no declarations of interest and there is no business outstanding. So moving on to item 1 of the agenda today, which is the confirmation of minutes of the Economic and Industry Development Committee number 7 of 2021. And I'll move that. Can I get a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Fechner. And noting that the recommendation is to accept the minutes of the Economic and Industry Development Committee number 7 of 2021. Was there any discussions on the matter? So I'll just move on to the voting now. So all of those in favour, please raise your hands. And that's unanimous. Thank you. And then moving on to item number 2 of the agenda, which is the officers' reports, being the 2020 to 2021 Ipswich Exceptional Experiences Program report. Does anyone want to chat to the officer in relation to this report? No? So just noting that this report, the Exceptional Experiences Program, was a funding initiative to stimulate the creation and enhancement of the Ipswich tourism experiences, and it was well received. And can I get a mover? Thank you, Councillor Madsen. And a seconder? Thank you, Mayor. Now opening up for discussion. Yes, Mayor?
I think, Chair, it's been quite a successful program. I can see that certainly our tourism industry has been hit hard with COVID. So I think it's great that Council's supporting these 9 applications, or these 9 businesses, and contributed, I think, over $170,000 towards these Exceptional Experiences program. I think they were all new experiences as well, which is, I think, quite interesting as well.
Yes, and noting that it was a shared venture when it come to funding, so a lot of those businesses kicked in high finances to kick that off, so it was well received. Thank you. So can I get a vote for that? All of those in favour? Thank you, and it's unanimous and carried. And moving on to number 3 on the agenda, which is the Chamber of Commerce 2021 to 2022 partnership agreements. Just asking if anyone would like to speak to the relevant officer in relation to this. No? I might just ask if Ms Madsen could come up.
Good morning, Chair, Mayor and Councillors. Kat Matson, Manager of Economic and Community Development.
Thank you, Ms Matson. Just noting that we did receive the report of the actual partnership agreements quite late. Could we just make a note and perhaps a second recommendation, but for future years to perhaps bring those partnership agreements to Council a little earlier for our consent and perusal?
Sure. My answer is yes.
Thank
to
you.
Explain the process this year, the $40,000 was allocated and approved in the budget as a line item for Chambers partnerships. And as per our delegations, our officers completed that process, quite literally the paperwork and the discussions. My apologies, though, that you didn't feel that there was sufficient consultation, because really happy to ensure that happens again, that happens better next year.
Thank you. And noting that you're always trying to get us involved, and this is new, so this is the second year.
Yeah.
So moving forward, just an improvement for future years.
Not a problem at all.
Thank you. Was there any other questions of Ms Madsen? No. So I'm just wondering, the recommendation here is that the Chamber of Commerce 2021-2022 Partnership Agreements report be received and contents noted. Yes, Mayor?
May I think you're finished now.
Thank you.
May I suggest a second recommendation?
Yes.
Is that from now on, from the next financial year onwards, that these partnership agreements come to council for approval. I appreciate that we've put them in the budget, but they are strategic agreements and they're very important, and it's something that we councils do need to be consulted on and work with quite closely. So that future years, the partnership agreements be brought to council for their approval. And I note that it's certainly the Ipswich Chamber of Commerce is 115 years old, and I think there was only 1 year where council didn't have a partnership agreement with it, and that was, I think, under administration. So I think it's very important for these strategic partnerships that they do come to council for consultation and approval, not just to be noted.
Thank you, Mayor. I agree. The detail in the partnership agreements was quite useful when I did receive and note them, so that I understand what we're entitled to as a council under those partnership agreements, and a look ahead of what's in store for both chambers for the year, and fully support them. They're doing a great job, and so really it's just about us getting a little bit more hands-on so that we can support them as much as we possibly can, and then the onflow of that assistance to our businesses within our Ipswich region. So just noting that second recommendation, Mayor, are you happy with the wording on that one?
Yes, I am, Chair. Thank you.
Wonderful. So I'm taking both recommendations now.
Excuse me, Chair. Yep. May I just make a note for consideration through you as Chair of the committee? I would have to note for the committee that there would be implications of that recommendation if it was resolved by the committee and ultimately by the council in relation to other agreements of that nature and for that value. So once again, I would raise that with the budget having been set and the direction provided by the council to engage in such an agreement with the chambers, that officers are in effect giving operationalisation to that decision already noted in the strategic decision of the council. I'm just concerned about flow-on implications of such a resolution that would need to be assessed. I'm wanting to flag for the committee's consideration that I would strive in good governance to try to achieve the right balance between where the delegation sits for matters to be approved. And I would put for your consideration that this is perhaps a matter we could consult the council or this committee in particular better on going forward, as opposed to it being a matter that the council would need to resolve.
Okay. So
if I could speak to that, Chair?
Sure.
I fully understand it, and for myself, through the Chair, Acting CEO, it's not so much the dollar amount, and I guess we know that during administration, it's the only year that this council didn't have a partnership agreement with the Ipswich Chamber of Commerce, and it's 115-year history. And we come to today where I have received no consultation whatsoever on this agreement. So I feel quite firm in the fact that it does need to come to us for approval to make sure it is a vitally important agreement. It is a strategic partnership I see with both the Chambers of Commerce. And I'm concerned that if it just says consultation, the word can be sometimes too fluffy. I want to make sure that these partnership agreements, again, not so much the dollars, but the intent and the importance. We're the fastest growing city in Queensland. We need our economy pumping, and we do need to have really strong partnership agreements, and I think it's really important. I think the community would expect their elected representatives to be quite hands-on with certain things, and this is one of those things that I think the community would expect us to make sure that is steering in the right direction, and agreed that we only got the partnership agreements yesterday.
Thank you, Mayor. is it the right time to perhaps move a foreshadowed motion? Take them to the vote
Well, I don't
separately.
think the CEO can do a foreshadowed motion unless a councillor wants to.
No, I would like to foreshadow a motion. Move them separately. Okay. So I guess that for future years, the partnership agreements be brought to a councillor workshop or briefing for consideration in the drafting stage, noting that obviously the flow-on effect and setting a precedent for other such agreements, and then taking away relationships that have been formed by our officers and the chambers as well. I don't want to delay any action whatsoever. So is that reading? So, yep. Are you happy with that, Mayor?
Yeah, I am, but I think probably from a stickler point of view, as the chair, you're able to move things because it hasn't been moved and seconded. I think you can probably remove what I've put there, and as the chair, I think that you're able to move those two recommendations and put those. And I guess if I'm happy with that.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, I'll withdraw my my recommendation.
Wonderful. Okay, so moving. I'll just wait for Vicky. Sorry. So now noting that the recommendation B states that for future years, the partnership agreements to be brought to council workshops and briefings for consideration in the drafting stage, and I will take both recommendations to the vote. All of those in favour?
First, seconder.
Oh, seconder. Mover. Sorry. Councillor Madsen. Sorry.
Interject, maybe we could be more specific about the partnership agreements and just include the words the Chamber of Commerce partnership agreements.
Thank you, Councillor Fechner. So can I get a mover for these recommendations, please? I'm moving them. Excellent. Can I get a seconder? Thank you, Mayor. Excuse my meeting procedure, please. Okay, so all of those in favour of both A and B?
We have any discussion?
Discussions?
Just a question for the acting CEO. With further consideration being made to recommendation B there, are you comfortable with how that reads?
I am. Thank you for the opportunity to comment. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, yeah.
You're making me nervous now, but I am comfortable with that.
That's great. Yeah. I only asked because the inference earlier was that we would be operating maybe potentially outside of the realms of what the elected representatives should be in terms of the delegation. So this clears it up so that we have visibility over it, but it remains within the delegation too. So I think this is a good result.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Any further discussion? No. So I'll move the A and B to a vote. All those in favour? Thank you. And it's unanimous and carried. I have no notice of motions on the agenda and there are no matters arising. So I would like to close the meeting at 12:04